Hello everyone, hello, welcome to and welcome back Mother Mick Sports Show with BJ from the BJ Show. So, welcome all to another week of the BJ Show, presented by the BJ Show with your host BJ. Alright, what's on the Mick Sports Show for another week of A-League from the Ninja and the Suzuki? We have a fun AFL predictions. We have all the national basketball and the women's coming into the final series. We also will share my best have the ladder. If it's not on today's show, it will be absolutely on the next episode, including the finals of the Women's National Basketball League. Can't wait to share you all the results. We'll share round 15 of the Southside Melbourne Flyers over the Perth Lynx. What an absolute hit out there as well. Well, without any doubt, let's get out and begin this show. Alright, the first one on our list, absolutely Suzuki A-League Men's Round 15. The ladder will be announced really soon. We're coming almost at the end of the season, but we've got round big month of soccer football as well. So here's your results. So Wellington Phoenix, Sydney FC, 2-2 draw, well done. Mana draw here, LA United and Mafama Bulls, 1-1. Big winners for Newcastle Jets, well done, 4-1 over Brisbane War. The Sydney FC Sydney Warriors, the Sydney Derby in the A-League Men's went head-to-head, 4-1, well done to Sydney FC. Perth Glory took a 2-1 over Auckland FC, and the final was Central Coast Mariners dominating over the Melbourne Victory. So well done all the winners, and heads up all the ones who did draws, and all the best for the teams got defeated. There's always rounds. Alright, on to the, well, what's on that? Well, like I said, I mentioned what's on that. Here it is. The result. Into previews. Wellington Phoenix and Melbourne Victory. Go head to head. Who I think? I reckon I'm backing up Wellington Phoenix. Where's the next one? It's my Farmer Bulls. They went for a draw with Perth Glory victory. Perth Glory. I have backup there. Never know what can happen with a draw against Auckland and Sydney FC. Sydney FC got a big win. Auckland struggling a little bit. I reckon these two can go for a draw. Now, Brisbane Roar and Central Coast Mariners. I reckon this could be a victory to the Central Coast Mariners. Now, these are only predictions. These are not all. So, Western Sydney Warriors and Melbourne City, I reckon. And the final game, this could be the LA United and Newcastle Jets. But I'd love the LA United with the win. But yeah, so here are the previews for round 15 of the Suzuki review. Alright, on to the next game. Yeah, so moving on to the men's into the Ninja A-League Women's Round 15 result. Well, here it is. Brisbane and Central Coast Mariners was a 2-2. LA United over Melbourne City 2-1. Well done. Well, the Sydney Warriors taking a 3-2 over Sydney FC. Canberra United over Melbourne Victory. Newcastle Jets and Wellington Phoenix. Well done to Wellington Phoenix 5-1. And the team has the bye. It's Perth Glory. Now we have the previews for round 16. So here we are. We have Wellington Phoenix, Perth Glory, Wellington, Western Sydney Warriors, and LA United. I feel very confident. Draw will be against Melbourne Victory and Newcastle Jets. Sydney FC and Canberra United, I think that'll be a draw. So Melbourne City over Brisbane Roar, and Central Coast Mariners with the bye. So that is round 16 preview. Alright, we are here. Now, before we get into round 16, we do have round 16 right on your screen. So, there we go. Now, that was a little bit confused on your screen. There we go. So, the final score for this game, right on your screen, 79 to 111. Perth Lynx took the win there. Well done. Well done to Geelong Lincolns over Bendigo Spirit. Big winners there. Southside Melbourne Flyers over LA United 82-77. LA United have found ways to finish off against them at home. Should be a very good close battle there. Whereas the next game is Townsville and UC Capitals. Well done to Townsville 78-62. The next game is Sydney Flames and Geelong Vingans. Well done to Geelong Vingans with another big win and against Sydney Sydney Flames. Bendigo Spirit and Perth Link 64-88 and UC Capitals. Southside Melbourne Flyers over UC Capitals 82-75. Well done to all the winners. Heads up, all the teams are playing finals even they lost. So always learn from a loss and a win. So there you go. All right, round 17 previews. Who I'm going to go for? Here we go. We have made it. Adelaide Lightning will not play finals, but teams that are going to be playing finals I will share on my screen. I know who's the top four. It's going to be a really good. Here are your we only got 4 games. Only 4 games. So this is it. And UCC Capitals, the Campbell Capitals are known for over Geelong Vingans. Geelong for me. They've got some really good momentum. They've won the last couple games, really lift their spirit. They beat Bendigo's spirit by 8 points, which is huge. Perth Link, Sydney Flames, Perth Link, Adelaide Lightning and Southside Melbourne Flyers. Back in Adelaide Lightning, let's bring it home with some big win there. But I think Southside Melbourne Flyers, they want to finish off a very good win there. Final game, Townsville Fire, Bendigo Spirit, Townsville. And I am really correct that this will be a really, really good final series. Townsville, Bendigo with Southside Melbourne Flyers. Perth Link will be claiming top 4. Who is in first, second and third, fourth, and we'll share the 58. We'll find out that after round 17 results, including the ladder and first week of final series, share that the next one. All right, on to National Basketball League Wall. We got about 3-4 rounds. No more Wednesday night basketball. We've got Thursday to Sunday basketball. Hope what a finish going to be. All right, on to the National Basketball League, the men's competition. Big winner to the LA 36ers, 107-74. Big winners after that round in round 18. This is on Wednesday night. Big winners to Perth Wildcats back in action. They go 101-93 over the Phoenix. The next one is the Sydney Kings and the Eel Hawks. Big winners to the Sydney Kings, 122-104 over big winners. This is what Sydney are able to do as well. Keep on the winning list, and this could be the game of the round. New Zealand Breakers and Melbourne United, whereas the New Zealand Breakers took on a top 4 side, Melbourne United, 97-95. We have the next game is Kentai Bands and Tasman Jumpers taking a 96-93 victory. Mother big upset. LA Foods and South East Melbourne Phoenix with the 77-97 to the South East Melbourne Phoenix. And there we come into the next game, Eel Hawks, Perth Wildcats. Well done to Perth Wildcats, 106-99. There you have it. And the final game coming into Tasman Jumpers, New Zealand Breakers. Final score there, 91-89. Game of the week. Well done to Tasman Jumpers with the win. And we have the final game, Cairns Highlands, Sydney Kings, and this was it, 92-106. That's it, 106. Well done, Sydney Kings, Cairns Highlands, great effort. All right, into round 20 previews, and we'll leave it from there. So making all nice and short, New Zealand Breakers, the South Eastern Melbourne Phoenix, the Phoenix. The Eel Hawks, LA 36ers, struggling overall, the Eel Hawks. Tasman Jumpers and Brisbane Bullets, Tasman Jumpers back in action. Perth Wildcats, Cairns Highlands, Perth Wildcats. And New Zealand Breakers, I reckon they'll take that win. But the Eel Hawks could have confidence. I think New Zealand Breakers, they took on Melbourne United there. Melbourne United, LA 36ers, LA 36ers, South Eastern Melbourne Phoenix. I'm going to say the Phoenix there and the Brisbane Bullets. Cairns Highlands, the Rubber Up from Bullet. There you have it. We've got a surprise for you. Sit back, relax as I enter my AFL early predictions on the AFL website. Enjoy. See you soon. Hello everyone. Welcome to the 2026 BJ Show early fun predictions. How we are going to be doing this. So we're going to break it down 6 by 6. Instead of doing that, we're going to do 12 and 12, then final. Simple like that. No worries of that. So on the 12th, you will see the live ladder actually what's going to be like. So we have the margin on your bottom left-hand side with the games. That's what we're going to be doing, starting with the opening round. So the margin goes by 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, etc. You know, there's no odd numbers or even numbers from the zero. So I'm going to guess roughly how much. So, for example, for the Sydney Carlton game, I'll going for Sydney Swans, and I'll say between 20 and 25. I will put, leave on 20 points. So that's example. All right, enough is enough, and I have done my intro. But if you can give this a like, you like this as well, subscribe down below. Much I appreciate it. Thank you so much who has supported this channel. It's been a long time. I appreciate it. We'll hopefully get some more videos out to you as a little bit more regularly, and I'll do everything during this apprenticeship, AFL apprenticeship season as well. All right, enough is enough. Let's get on with it. Now, this is going to be a really interesting opening round with two. We got one game is actually held in Melbourne for opening round. So we're supposed to be having a Sydney, Queensland viewers to what and get more actions of the opening round. So we'll find out who that is very soon. You know what's happening out there. I have also done scriggleversion.com.au. I've done that's the top 10. Unfortunately, this is a top 8. You can see I'm just going to scribble down so you can see that I unfortunately weren't able to do a top 10. They haven't updated this. Hopefully they'll do in the future. So do have the first game on the Thursday night, and it's at the SCG, known for Sydney Cricket Ground, host of the Sydney Swans. They host these games, and they host the Carlton Blues. Now, I have decided to go now. We do not know what the live ladder is going to look like. But on your left-hand side next to your 10s, I can highlight and show that bit. You'll see where they are actually on the ladder. So we really don't need the actual ladder, but I will show you that after the 12th, on the 12th round. So anyway, I'll go for Sydney Swans and see, you can see on your screen. So I said between 20 and 25, for example, but I really think it's going to be a 30.9 win there for the Sydney Swans there. Friday night football, it's good to have that at People's First Stadium. Geelong Cats and the Geelong Cats. Gold Coast Suns and Geelong Cats. And I think it's just going to be a little bit more closer. I'm saying between 10 and 15 points in a close one. And I have decided to go with the Gold Coast Suns. So the second game, on to the third game at ENGIE Stadium. We have the GWS, known for Greater Western Sydney Giants, take on Hawthorn. Hawthorn, I think they're going to look really good. So, and I'm going to say that in a close one, basically the same as that. So we're back in Brisbane, known for the gutter. Now, the other Queensland team, Brisbane Lions, the Premiers, take on the Western Bulldogs. I'll say the Western Bulldogs. I think this is going to be a good game, and they'll win by, between that 20-25. It's going to be a good game, good contest there. And the final game, the end of the round, and I'll share the teams having the week off. St Kilda and Collingwood. Now, I have said check it out about St Kilda and Collingwood, but I'm backing up on St Kilda with this win. I know why. I just think it's going to be a really good contest as well. So to end this, and we'll get straight to round one of the 26th season, with all teams will be playing, with a few teams having a week off. It's Adelaide, Crows, North Melbourne, Port Adelaide, Essendon, Fremantle, Richmond, Melbourne Demons, and West Coast Eagles are all having the week off. Oh, round one. So you can see everyone having the week playing each other. Yes, this is the round. Everyone has a go to play. This is the full schedule for round one. We're back on Thursday night. And Friday will be the MCG Crucials, and it's Carlton and Richmond. I'm backing up Carlton. They'll win 20-30. You know, it's going to be a good game there. Not overly convinced about the margin, but I'm going for Torvald. They'll bounce back, and they'll win by about that 30-point margin. We have the the Western Bulldogs. First game for Marble Stadium for 2025. They host the GWS Giants. And I'm going to back up GWS. They'll take the win there. They'll win that bracket points. First game for down at GM HBA Stadium, known for Canadian Park, with Geelong Cats and the Fremantle Dockers. Geelong should take this win. They struggle against Fremantle. Fremantle found game plans well enough against Geelong. That's it, Geelong Cats. Next game is at the SCG. We're turned there for the Swans and the Lions. The Swans take on the back-to-back Premiers. But after that win, I think Sydney will take the win over the Brisbane Lions, getting a good start. And we have the first Saturday night in Melbourne for Collingwood and Adelaide Crows. And I think Adelaide, but I'm going to say that they will take this win because I have confidence in them. We have the back at Marble Stadium first Sunday afternoon football. We have North Melbourne and Port Adelaide. And after thinking about, I'm going to say North Melbourne, but I'm going to say that under 10, that 10-point bracket. The next game is we are back at the MCG for Melbourne and St Kilda. And I think it'll be a brilliant victory as St Kilda should take care of Melbourne. In a way, their list is going to look pretty strong. And the final game, back at People's First Stadium, Gold Coast Suns, West Coast Eagles. And I'm going to say a very, very, or maybe not that greedy, but I'm going to say 50 points there for the Gold Coast Suns there. On to round 2. We continue on with Hawthorn and Sydney Swans. Hawthorn at the MCG are not over the sense of the margin in the big way. Well, the LA Crows should take care of this one. This is not going to be the guess a margin. So the first game, I'm going to say in a tight one, but I think Hawthorn by 25 points there. Same with the LA Crows, 30 points there. So let's make it into a bit of easy, that one there. So Gold Coast Suns should take at the MCG in I think 30 points there. They'll bounce back from that awful loss at Marble Stadium against the Tigers. Tigers has absolutely dominated. St Kilda over GWS at ENGIE Stadium. If I've got that correct, man, I've got a memory of all. Back to 20 points. Fremantle and Melbourne will have Fremantle take the win there. Port Adelaide and Essendon, Port Adelaide will take the win. First game at Adelaide Oval, and they'll say about 30-point bracket. West Coast and North Melbourne to finish it off. I'm going to say North Melbourne. I may say West Coast, but I think it'll be, in that bracket. And Brisbane, Collingwood, Carlton and Geelong all have the week off for round number 2. We're on the round number 3. We continue on. We're back at GMHC. We are back at GMHBA Stadium for Geelong Cats and the LA Crows. Normally I'll go for the LA Crows, but in Geelong, when they'll take a close victory there. Next game is back at Marble Stadium with Collingwood and GWS Giants. Collingwood with the win there. Ran that bracket. St Kilda and Brisbane. Brisbane should take care at Marble Stadium with Richmond at Optus Stadium with the Essendon Bombers. I'm taking them at Marble for Saturday night football. And the last 2 games, Port Adelaide and West Coast. Oh, it's really hard. You can't go back on this crucial. So I am going to say Port Adelaide in that bracket and Carlton. But I'm backing out Melbourne with this win there. With Gold Coast, Western Bulldogs, Hawthorn, and Sydney with the week off. Round 4 comes in Easter round here as well. We have back at the gutter, Brisbane Lions and Collingwood with Brisbane with the win there. North Melbourne and Carlton, North Melbourne. I think after that win, I think they'll struggle back-to-back loss Carlton, but you never know about that part. We have Adelaide Fremantle, Adelaide with the win there. Richmond and Port Adelaide. I think Richmond could scare some Port Adelaide magic, but you never know. But I'm backing up Richmond. They love the MCG. They should dominate there. West Coast and Sydney. Well, Sydney. And we're on the Sunday afternoon football back at the MCG. We have Gold Coast versus his old team of Christian Petrarca. Returns back at the MCG in his new colours. And Western Bulldogs and Essendon. Both are playing at Marble, but I think the Dogs are a little bit coloured. No, absolute Essendon will have talent, but the Dogs will want to get that win. And Easter football, Monday afternoon football, Hawthorn and Geelong go head to head. And I think Geelong will take this win with St Kilda and GWS Giants do not play on Easter football, which I personally not liking because they miss playing Easter football as well. On to the next round, which is the gutter round, which we all love. Adelaide Crows and Carlton Adelaide. Collingwood and Fremantle, Collingwood. North Melbourne and Brisbane. Essendon, Melbourne, Essendon. Sydney and Gold Coast. That's at Nordover as well. Hawthorn and Western Bulldogs. Hawthorn. Geelong and West Coast Eagles. Geelong. GWS Giants and Richmond. GWS. Port Adelaide, St Kilda. So, on to the next game. We have Carlton and Collingwood traditional. Collingwood. We have Geelong and Western Bulldogs. Geelong. Sydney and GWS, the Sydney Derby at the SCG. Sydney should take that care of. Where's that? People's first. Well, Gold Coast. Now, I'm not going to all do margins because it's a bit of a need to get on with that. We're back at Marble Stadium with Hawthorn and Port. Hawthorn. Adelaide, St Kilda. Adelaide. North Melbourne. Richmond. North Melbourne at Marble Stadium. Melbourne and Brisbane MCG. Melbourne. West Coast and Fremantle. West Coast. Next game. Here we go. Western Bulldogs and Sydney Swans. I'm backing up Sydney. Next game. Richmond and Melbourne. Oh, I think Melbourne. I think they'll get that win there. Hawthorn and Gold Coast. Hawthorn. Essendon and Collingwood. So I do not like against having two games on Anzac with Geelong over Port. And Fremantle should take care as well with a win with St Kilda at Marble. This is going to be a hard one. I think Adelaide will take there. They will upset. And North Melbourne. I don't know why I'm saying this. Should I take North Melbourne? And it's not been confirmed because this is just for fun. I think GWS Giants at Combo Group over in Markle. I hope I pronounced that. Hopefully I pronounced that correctly. And that is the last game. Not all games will be margins. So I just want to share that with you all. All right, next game on round number 8. We have Collingwood and Hawthorn. I think that will scare them off. The Western Bulldogs and Fremantle at Marble Stadium. The Fremantle, hopefully they just don't lose poorly there. They're not their favourite stadium, but you never know. Fremantle plays some good football. If Fremantle plays some really good football, you never know what can happen. We have the showdown. We have Adelaide and Port Adelaide. Adelaide should take care of that win. But in a close margin as well. We all love close showdowns. Essendon and Brisbane. I'm really backing up at Marvel Stay in Brisbane, being a close one. West Coast and Richmond, both teams, but I think Richmond just have that better talent. And we are on the Geelong and North Melbourne. Geelong and North Melbourne. Geelong. Carlton and St Kilda. St Kilda. Carlton and St Kilda. St Kilda. Sydney Swans and Melbourne. Sydney Swans and Gold Coast Suns and GWS Giants at People's First. Then the round with Gold Coast Suns. We're almost there. We'll do from the round 10. Here we go. Fremantle and Hawthorn. See Fremantle there. Brisbane and Carlton. Brisbane. Port Adelaide Dogs. I'm saying it upset was the Port Adelaide taking that win there. North Melbourne, Sydney Swans, GWS Giants and Essendon. Well, the Giants should win that in a good game there. Gold Coast and St Kilda. I really feel like Gold Coast love playing at TI Stadium and yeah. Okay, next game is the Cats and the Pies. MCG, Geelong Collingwood. Collingwood. I do not see the sexy Geelong Cats. They'll be an M&O. Marvelous staying with Melbourne and West Coast. West Coast. You never know because Melbourne never hosts games in a big way. And Adelaide with the win there. All right, the moment of truth. I'm going to have to end it from this point. There's 2 rounds remaining. We'll be back with the live ladder here on the BJ Show. Okay, we're up to round number 10. And we've done round 10 as the live ladder. I'm going to do that once again in round 12. But before we do that, we got to go through round 10, 11. So let's get on with it. Okay. Brisbane and Geelong both get really action with this game. Geelong with now. Brisbane with the W, with the win. Swans and the Pies, Sydney and Collingwood. Sydney with the win. Gold Coast Suns and Port Adelaide. Gold Coast. Adelaide North Melbourne, Adelaide. Melbourne Hawthorn. Carlton and Western Bulldogs. I'm going to say a bit of an upset. I think Carlton played a good football against the Dogs. Essendon and Fremantle. If Essendon played a good football, you never know what will happen. St Kilda Richmond, St Kilda, West Coast Eagles, GWS Giants. This could be a little bit of well, you never know what will happen. We'll go to GWS Giants with that game. Next game and next round, we're on the round 11 Thursday night in UTAS Stadium, which is University of Tasmania Stadium. So, Hawthorn and Adelaide. I think Hawthorn should. Unfortunately, they'll take that win. Richmond and Essendon. I think Essendon. I'm feeling confident with them. Fremantle and St Kilda. St Kilda. I'm going for that big upset. North Melbourne and Gold Coast. Geelong and Sydney. Geelong. Collingwood and West Coast. Collingwood. Port Adelaide and Carlton. Port Adelaide. GWS Giants and Brisbane. I really like to see the Giants as the upset and the Dogs, the Western Bulldogs over Melbourne. On to the next round. Now, we did state stop from round 12. We don't stop from there. We go to the live ladder. Now, we may done this from the 10th round. If we didn't, that's okay. Here it is. Now, we did not see who's top. You may saw it by link in a moment. But everyone's won games. Now, I understand we may see this, that win, loss, win. You know, it's a bit confusing, maybe. If I can see some settings, no. Okay, so we come from 18th to 14th, which is West Coast, 1 win and 10 losses. That's a pretty good effort. But could they fire some more with Western Bulldogs, putting themselves in with 2 wins from 9 losses, with Richmond, Melbourne, and Carlton coming up the ladder with 3 wins, 8 wins. 3 wins and 8 losses. It's Essendon, North Melbourne, Firearms 12th with 4 wins, 7 losses, followed by Port Adelaide. We come to that top 10, which is not on this site, with GWS Giants in 10th and Collingwood, with 6 wins, 5 losses for Collingwood. The Giants, 5 wins, 6 losses. We come to that top 8. The first, 5th to 8th, you can see on your screen, but Fremantle with 7 wins, 4 losses. St Kilda, 8 wins, 3 losses. Geelong, the same. And Sydney, 4th spot. We're up to 4th and from Hawthorn, 9 from 2. Brisbane Lions, 9 from 2. Adelaide, 9 from 2. And Gold Coast, 10 from 1. Now, King, I think this is going to be interesting. We're now clear. Well done. Bang. Okay. That is not the overall ladder, by the way. Well, I wish. But we do have St Kilda and Hawthorn. Sir Hawthorn. Carlton and Geelong at the MCG. Oh, this game will be a beauty, but Geelong. Sydney over Richmond. Fremantle. I reckon that can upset, but Brisbane to fly up. Western Bulldogs, Collingwood. We have Melbourne and GWS Giants. Big winners there. And by the way, West Coast and Essendon. West Coast with Adelaide Crows, Gold Coast Suns, North Melbourne, and Port Adelaide. But both South Australian teams have the week off in 1 week. Don't see that very often in the bye round. So we come to the next round, and it's always interesting to have round 13 comes to the LA Crows Geelong. I think Geelong will be a little bit better on the night. Hawthorn and Western Bulldogs. Hawthorn, North Melbourne, and the Dockers. Now, this is at their hands oval. I'm going to stay with North Melbourne. I would surely Fremantle should, but Brisbane over Gold Coast. Port Adelaide should take care of West Coast. Sydney Swans and St Kilda. Oh, it's a tough one, but Sydney should. Essendon and Carlton, I'm really backing up Essendon. They should fly well. And Collingwood and the Melbourne Demons Kings birthday. And it's the GWS Giants, Richmond Tigers, having that week off in round 13. Back to game number 1 for round 14. As we continue on, we're going to round 24 and we'll see what happens. Western Bulldogs and Adelaide. Geelong and Gold Coast. Geelong. Ouch. Melbourne and Essendon. I think Melbourne will surprise some really good touches. West Coast and North Melbourne will be confused with that. West Coast. I reckon West Coast will do well there. Port Adelaide and Sydney Swans. Well, the last time these two met, it was actually Port Adelaide. No one saw this coming, but I don't think that will happen again. But strange things does happen in life, and The last two games are Richmond and Brisbane, at Ninja Stadium, and at Marble Stadium, St Kilda and the GWS Giants. Bang! Massive upset. Here we go. And Collingwood, Carlton, Hawthorn, and Fremantle Dockers with the week off. All right, round 15. We come to that big game there. Fremantle, big winners there. Gold Coast and Hawthorn. I think it'd be Hawthorn. Has to be. If they can play their smart football. Adelaide over Melbourne. Giants and the Blues. GWS Giants. And Carlton Blues. GWS. The stick in the finals. Collingwood and Port. Collingwood. Richmond and North Melbourne. Richmond. St Kilda and the Dogs. St Kilda. Brisbane, Essendon. Well, the Mighty City Swans. Australia's Eagles all have their week off. On to now round 16, which is this is going to be a really interesting game between the Lions and the Swans. It's going to be interesting. There's no dates, there's no times, we know where the venue is. And I reckon the Brisbane Lions, I think, it's going to be that really close battle. Carlton and West Coast. Really, West Carlton should win that marble. Collingwood and Richmond. Collingwood. Hawthorn and GWS Giants. I'm going for the upset. North Melbourne and Essendon. North Melbourne. Port Adelaide and Adelaide. Coast. Fremantle, Gold Coast. Gold Coast was a big, big win there. Western Bulldogs, Geelong Cats, St Kilda Saints, and the Melbourne Demons all having their week off. Round 17, here we are. Where's Essendon, St Kilda, Geelong and Brisbane, Geelong. Hopefully they'll get some big wins there. Gold Coast and Collingwood. Big upset. Collingwood. GWS Giants, Fremantle Dockers. I'm going for the Giants. Big upset there. We are in Tasmania for the Hawks, the Hawthorn Hawks, and Melbourne Demons, Hawthorn. We got the next game. It's Richmond and Carlton. Where can Richmond? There will be a massive improve. Sydney Swans and Western Bulldogs, Sydney, Port Adelaide, North Melbourne, Port Adelaide, West Coast and Adelaide. Wow. It's a massive improve. Here we go. We're on to round 18 with Brisbane and Essendon. Brisbane. Carlton and Hawthorn. Collingwood, North Melbourne. Collingwood. GWS Giants and Geelong Cats. GWS. Big winners there. Melbourne and Richmond. Melbourne. St Kilda, Port Adelaide. St Kilda. Western Bulldogs and West Coast. Western Bulldogs. Adelaide and Gold Coast. Gold Coast. And Fremantle and Sydney. Now, there is some split rounds. Do we have some teams having the week off? No, we're back to normal in that restriction of that. We may miss who had the final buys, but you have an idea of that. All right, 19, 5 rounds to go. Collingwood and Carlton. Collingwood. Essendon and GWS Giants. I'd love to see Essendon to really fire it up. I think the Giants, they wanted to win and they want to play finals. We have the next game. It is Geelong and St Kilda. Down at GMHBA, we'll have the Well, this is massive. That could be a good game. Gold Coast and the Dogs. Gold Coast. North Melbourne and Melbourne. Anything be impossible down at Marvel. North Melbourne. Richmond and Hawthorn. Richmond. Sydney and Adelaide. Can be anything be possible? I want to say Adelaide, but I'm going to have to back up Sydney. I have to say Sydney because of the way they bring their team together. They look really excited for 2026. The next game is Port Adelaide and Fremantle. West Coast Eagles and Brisbane Lions. Brisbane Lions. The next game we're on our list is West Coast round 20. Brisbane and Port Adelaide over Brisbane. Gold Coast over Carlton. Sydney over GWS Giants. Hawthorn against over the Bombers. North Melbourne, St Kilda, St Kilda for me. Melbourne and Geelong. Melbourne or Geelong to see there. West Coast and Richmond. Western Bulldogs. Adelaide and Collingwood, Adelaide. Fremantle and West Coast, Fremantle. Well, the tail, my goodness, are you nervous or what? And I tell you right now, I'm pretty close in some of the positions, but we'll continue on to round 21 with 3 rounds to go. Carlton and Brisbane Lions. Collingwood and Geelong at the MCG. At Marble Stadium, it is Essendon and Adelaide Crows. Gold Coast Suns and Melbourne. Gold Coast at People's First Stadium. We are back at Tasmania. A few games there this year. West Hawthorn and North Melbourne. Hawthorn for me. Richmond and West Coast Eagles. Richmond. Magic playing for the Tigers at the MCG. St Kilda and Sydney Swans. St Kilda. Big upset there. Port Adelaide, GWS Giants. I'm going with that big upset. GWS Giants. Fremantle Dockers and Western Bulldogs. Fremantle. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed this. Just give us a massive like if you like this and subscribe and hit that notification as well. We come to the next game and boy, Brisbane and Hawthorn. Brisbane, Geelong Cats, Essendon, Geelong. GWS Giants, Gold Coast Suns, Gold Coast. Melbourne and Fremantle at the MCG, Fremantle. St Kilda and Carlton, St Kilda. Sydney Swans, Port Adelaide, Sydney. Next 3 games, which are the Western Bulldogs, North Melbourne. I'm going to go with the North Melbourne. Adelaide and Richmond. Adelaide, West Coast, Eagles, Collingwood. Collingwood should take, well, I'm not surprising that could change during the season, but we never know what will happen. We have Brisbane and Gold Coast. We're Brisbane. Next one is Essendon and Sydney. Sydney. I'm going to pick the Giants over the Eagles. GWS over West Coast. Next game is Hawthorn and Collingwood. North Melbourne and Geelong. Richmond and St Kilda. Western Bulldogs and Carlton. Port Adelaide and Melbourne. Port Adelaide. Fremantle Dockers and Adelaide. Fremantle. This is scary. And oh boy. This is it. And oh my goodness, anything can happen with Collingwood, Fremantle, Essendon. Big winners there. Geelong. Western Bulldogs. Very hard to pick there. Gold Coast. Sydney. Adelaide. And Hawthorn. I claim the 2026 BJ shows only fun restrictions. This is it. This is, unfortunately, this is a little bit out of whack. And I'm shocked. And so many levels. West Coast in 18th. Bad luck on your season. 3 wins from 20. Carlton 4 wins 19. Essendon 5 wins 18. We come to the Western Bulldogs. Now they're the same as Essendon, Western Bulldogs, Richmond and Melbourne all claim 5 wins and 18 losses. Port Adelaide on the 12th place with 7 wins 16. North Melbourne very nicely, 8 wins 15. Then a big 5+ for the GWS Giants and Fremantle line out of the top 8. There's no top 10, but this could be a top 10. And 8th spot, St Kilda. 15 wins, 8 losses. Collingwood, 16 wins, 7 losses. Adelaide, 17 wins, 6 losses. It's all about that 1.1% is so close. Gold Coast line up to 5th. Where's Hawthorn? Congratulations, making 18 wins, 5 losses. Geelong making the 3rd place with the same with 18-5. Sydney 18-5 after 24 games with 23 was played. Brisbane Lions playing with 19-4 for this ladder. Let's go to that final series. Okay. Now, I'm not even going to look. I know who I think should win. But I'm going to say Brisbane for the first game. Gold Coast. Should I do a heads and tails? I'm doing heads and tails. This is just for finals. I'm not going to make any decisions. So just give me a moment and we'll be back in just a moment. Heads and tails. Ladies and gentlemen. All right. We are back to flick the coin in 3, 2, 1. I'm going to say heads is the home and tails is the away team. I say heads for the first game. Here we go. The answer is heads, and that's the team I've gone for. I'm going to go for heads again for the Gold Coast on St Kilda. This is all from heads and tails. It is tails, so St Kilda goes through to the next round. Well done, Bella on Gold Coast. The big game between, I can come back for the Adelaide Crows and Collingwood. That is a knockout in the Mason final. We'll go to the next quarterfinal final. The winner takes the week off. The loser has second week. Will host Sydney or Geelong will host the Adelaide and Collingwood. So, I will go with Geelong. This will more likely play it at the SCG. Obviously, it's a Sydney home game. And Geelong will get the next one. Congratulations. And who will take on Sydney? I chose Adelaide. Obviously, I'm going to go heads with this one. And Collingwood stole the victory. That's it. The losers are Adelaide and Gold Coast. Congratulations to Hawthorn, mighty Brisbane Lions, St Kilda, Collingwood and Geelong, all winners. Sydney and Hawthorn has second chance. St Kilda and Collingwood continue on their final campaign. We go into the next game. Now, I'm just going to say heads for Sydney and St Kilda. So tails is the first game. But I could be wrong with that. I am wrong with that. And I'm going to say, congratulations, bad luck for St Kilda making an effort. But the own effort heads is for the other game. And it's tails. Sydney Swans got knocked out. Straight sets. We've got epic. I'm going for Brisbane and Hawthorn. I love to see that City Geelong Cats. We're both going for heads for the first game. Here we go. How are we going to do it? Oh my goodness. Collingwood. This is only heads and tails. This is not my predictions. I will share who I've gone for in real life. I can actually change that if I wish. Yes, I can. We got Hawthorn and Geelong. Geelong and Hawthorn. MCG. I'm going for Hawthorn. This is tails. Who is the correct answer? It is Geelong. Wow. So, this is it. Collingwood and Geelong. I'm going for tails. Who is the Premiers? It's Geelong. Now, this is not the correct answer. This is not it. So can I reset this bit? Let's find out. Yes, the final series is now in. This is how I've gone. I've gone from Brisbane for Gold Coast, for Adelaide, and Sydney. Well, actually, I've gone for Geelong, but that's Sydney. So, the next games will be Hawthorn and Gold Coast, Gold Coast. And Geelong, well, I think it'll be a very tight game. And they'll gone by, well, very hard to know, but that one and that. And, well, overall, I should have gone with that way. But with Brisbane being favourites, this will actually combine the grand final and that as that. So I could have gone that way, but I expect Adelaide to dominate really well. I expect them not in that position. Check out, they will be coming out with my other predictions on the squiggle version. Thank you so much. Make sure you give this a like. I hopefully thank you so much for who has supported this YouTube. Keep watching. There's so much to come. We have, well, quite a bit to go to achieve this goal. I'm hoping to get big advantage, to get big goals coming your way. But funds is a big deal for the show. So I got over, well, technically under 2,000 watch time. And yeah, so that is the biggest goal. We're over 2,000, but not 500. So we're under that. So we're standard at recording from the 1st of Feb. It's 2,139. I would like to raise up more, and that hopefully you can, even you watch half an hour, one person watch half an hour, and this is going to be a good show. And I'm hoping my early prescriptions with Aiden, you may have heard on my, well, other shows here on the channel and podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. Make sure you keep downloading wherever you get your podcasts. Well, what do you think of this? What do you think? Now, I did put Adelaide and Gold Coast, but technically, I expect these two will play out for the premiership. I am expecting Gold Coast to go deep. I would love to see them in the premiership phrase. Love to see them in the grand final because I think they are one step away from being a premiership hero. Fortunately, Hawthorn and Geelong are more experienced Gold Coast have got experienced players. Adelaide, I just don't think they could beat Geelong in the finals, but it's finals. They find ways to win. But anyway, thank you so much for your support. There is like I said, my early prescriptions with Aiden is coming your way. Keep your eye out for that. This will be out with all the mixed sports show, but this is included the mixed sports show. All right. Thank you so much for and we'll see you soon. All right. Thank you. And let's get back on the mixed sports show. Let's finish it up. Thank you. Okie dokie. Well, thank you so much for watching and your support. Please help and subscribe and like. And thank you so much. We've reached a first time on this channel, the last episode of the Mixed Sports update of that show. 300 now and above likes. Thank you so much for doing that. It's really appreciated. And how much you have liked this episode of generally all the updates of the soccer and all the different Australian sport. Stay tuned because there's so much to come, such as fun quiz for the Olympics. So at this stage, it is the Winter Olympics as we are in that time of the year. So that'll be a fun quiz. I can't wait to share with you all. All right, we'll see you soon. Catch ya. BJ shows out. Bye for now.